Welcome back. This is video number 2, Who is your audience? So in this video, I'm going to help you figure out exactly who is your audience, the exact demographics of the person that you're trying to reach, because this is actually very crucial. You don't want to skip this step. I know you're probably excited to jump ahead, but this is the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, is by skipping this. You might have a general idea of who you're talking to, but unless you really know exactly if it's a male, if it's a female, what age group they are, stuff like that, unless you actually have that in hand, then you might be too general when it comes to your video sales letter. So we want to avoid that. We want to be as specific as we can. So I'm going to move on to my computer, and I'm going to show you exactly what tools to use and how to go about doing this. Now, before we talk about tools, the first thing that you want to figure out is, what are you selling? And then you want to go to google.com. You want to type in that keyword or keyword phrase. You want to try to be as general as possible in this case. So let's say, for example, that I want to sell greenhouse kits. Now, if you're not aware of what greenhouse kits are, it basically allows people to buy these kits. It's kind of a do-it-yourself thing, and they can set it up in their backyard, and they can grow tomatoes, grow veggies, grow fruits and flowers, and so forth. So I type that in here, and the reason why I type that in here is because I'm trying to figure out, in relation to greenhouse kits or whatever niche or market that you want, what are the top websites? So these are the top websites. Now I'm going to keep this open for just a minute, and generally what I try to do is I pick some website that actually relates to the niche or the market. So obviously HomeDepot.com is not going to be what I'm trying to target, because Home Depot has just about everything. I want something very, very specific. So Amazon is a big store with a bunch of stuff. It's not a very specific website. So for example, greenhousemegastore.com, this site mainly sells greenhouses and stuff that relates to greenhouses. So what I do is I head on over to Quantcast.com and I type in the URL right here. Now, Quantcast is free, but in my experience, I found that Quantcast doesn't always have all the data that I'm looking for. It's very limited in my opinion. But sometimes if you type it in, they will have the information. Like so for example, I typed in greenhouse megastore and I click on this, and as you can see, it doesn't really have the demographic data. This is more or less good to look at it and say, okay, is there actually traffic in the market? As you can see here, is it a steady amount of traffic, or is it just all the way down and then all the way up and so forth? So I can see that there's about steady amount of traffic, meaning over time it's consistent in terms of a person's interest in this topic. Now, like I said, Quantcast is a little bit limited, but if we type in greenhouse, let's see what we can find here. So greenhousemag.com. Yeah, so it doesn't really provide as much demographics. The two tools that I really like to use is Facebook Audience Insights and Alexa.com. Alexa.com, now they do charge for you to use it, but in my opinion, it's probably be the best tool that I've used, just because the amount of data that they have. Now, that's why I say try out Quantcast.com first, and if you don't really see anything, move on to the next thing. And the next thing is to try out Facebook Audience Insights. The way that you get to the site is by going to www.facebook.com/ads/audience_insights. If you need to pause this video so you can type that in, go ahead and do that now. And when you go to the site, this is what you're going to see. So you obviously need to have a Facebook account. So you log into your Facebook account, and this right here is what you see. I absolutely love this tool. It's very, very specific. It's more specific than Alexa, and it's free. But in my opinion, Alexa and this tool are good. This tool allows you to see a broader view of a lot of people on Facebook who like a specific area. So I'm going to walk you through right now. If you go here, you can choose at the top a location. So I can choose United States. I can choose other countries like United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, or whatever that you want to choose. You just enter that here. Now, generally speaking, I like to stick with one country so that I can analyze it. And then what I'll do after I analyze it is I'll move to, let's say, for example, United Kingdom. And I'll try to see if there's a pattern, meaning if the percentages are similar, if it's women or more men, then I'm going to try to see if it's more men or more women consistently throughout the different countries. Because if it's more consistently, then it's going to be easier to gauge. So in this case, all I do is go to interest right here. Not really concerned about the other things right now. I'm going to type in greenhouse. I don't know if they have kits. I don't think so. But greenhouses, that's fine. So we're going to enter that here. And there we go. So as you can see here, age and gender, we can see about 71% women and 29% men. So obviously there's a big leaning towards women that are interested in greenhouses and greenhouse kits. So that's kind of a general overview as of now. But as you can see on Facebook, 54% are all on Facebook, and then 46% are on men. So it's kind of very, very similar. But from what I see, the majority is about 71% women. Now, if you scroll to the right here, you can see out of the women or out of the men, what is the age group that is most popular, or the age group that is more, leaning towards the interest of greenhouse. So from what I see, the majority happens to be this one, this one, and this one. This is 19%, so it's obviously lower. So we got 24%, 23%, and 20%. So I'm going to jot that down. So 35, 44, 45, 54, 55, and then 64. So I'm going to open up Notepad here, and I'm just going to jot this down. Female. So we got 35 to 44. 45 to 54, and 55 to 64. So that's females. And females is 71%. Now, because males are a lot lower in percentage, I'm not going to jot that down as of now. Now, you can obviously click on one of these if you would like to hone in on that specific age group. I'm not going to do that right now. But if you scroll down, you can actually see the lifestyle. So of this audience, this is the type of stuff that they like. So when it says brand affinity and other activities and purchase behavior, this gives you a better idea of what they're interested in. So country ways, outward bound, country single, country comfort, rural parents, trekking and style, and so forth. So by just looking at this tells me that this type of person is most likely in the country. rural, in the country, and so forth. So you're kind of getting a better idea of what this person is like. You see? Scroll it down. Relationship status, 64% married. So they're mostly married. They mostly have at least some sort of college. So it looks to me like they're well educated. And as we scroll down here, so as you can see, if they're well educated, the words that you use might be different from somebody who, has more education or less. So that gives you a better idea of how you can kind of organize what it's going to look like in your head in terms of your video sales letter. So in terms of jobs, what kind of jobs do they hold? So farming, fishery, forestry, nursing, transportation and moving, administrative cleaning, community social services, and so forth. So a lot of forestry, a lot of fishing, a lot of country type feel. So we scroll back up here, we click on page likes. And this gives you a better view of the pages that they're liking. So if you can get an idea of where they're hanging out, where they're going to, this can help you in terms of marketing as well. So as we can see here, a lot of garden, a lot of cooking, a lot of seeding, greenhouse, hydroponics, vegetable garden, garden design, gardening club, and so forth. So these might give you some ideas about, even your product. How can you expand on it and maybe offer something related over here? We've got page likes, and of course, location, where they're located, activity, and you can kind of get an idea of the interactions. So how do they interact with the pages? Page likes, comments, post likes. They don't do a lot of shares and promotions redeemed, but they do click a lot of ads. So that might give you an idea if you want to do Facebook ads later down the road. But right now we're just gathering information and trying to figure out who this type of person is. So click on household. And we're unable to see the household income or how much they actually make. That's fine. We can figure that out later. Household size, how many kids they have, home market value. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. We can see the spending methods. And of course, last, we have purchase. And you can get an idea of their spending habits, their retail spending, their online purchases. So if you don't see a lot of online purchases, maybe that means that there's not a lot of market there. So you really won't know unless you actually try, though. But this just gives you kind of a forecast of the future. We got purchase behavior. So what exactly do they buy? That tells you a lot. And there we go. So as you can see, Facebook Audience Insights is really, really powerful in itself. So as a free tool. Now let's move on to Alexa.com. And if I go back over to here, we have greenhousemegastore.com. So what I recommend that you do is just go through the list of top 10 or top 20 or 30 and try to compile a list of websites that are very popular or that are getting top rankings, and only pick and choose the websites that actually deal with that area. If it's something like Amazon or Home Depot or something like too general, do not write that down. You only want something very specific. When you do that, so we'll do that now. We'll just type that in here. This one here. And we got greenhousekit.com. And we can even look over here. We have gardeners.com. So gardeners.com may be too general. We want something specific. greenhousestore.com might be good. So we'll jot that down. I don't want to click the ad because that person's going to have to pay money. So I'm just going to enter that over here. And we could even go over to the shop on Google and figure out places that are actually selling. That's another little tip. If you can find websites that are actually selling things, you can figure out the exact buyer for that market. Okay, so I've compiled these three, and the reason why you want to compile a few is because you kind of want to compare the data that you're getting. So you want to go to alexa.com, that's Alexa.com. This is a company that is owned by Amazon, and it's been around for a long, long time. And if you recall, this tool used to be free, and they used to provide a lot of statistics for free, but it is a paid subscription now. So I'm paying about, I think it's $49 a month or 47. I think it's 49, but it's not a lot of money. And if you can figure out exactly who you're talking to, then $49 is not going to be a lot of money, much less because you're going to make that back, especially if you target the right person. If you don't use these tools and you target the wrong person, then you're going to have to start back in square one, or you're going to be like, why does this not convert? All right, so enough of that talk. What you need to do is simply copy and paste the URLs here. Click go. Okay, so I went ahead and did that for these three sites. Now, I want to note that don't get discouraged if you don't see any data. Just keep moving forward and plugging away. And don't spend too much time on this. You only need certain data. So if you go down here, we can see the demographics. There's not a lot of data. That's fine. So we're just going to keep scrolling down. We can get an idea of the popular keywords. So there's different types of greenhouses, as we can see here. So we're going to move on to the next website. And the next one is greenhousekit.com. There's not a lot of demographics. That's fine. But as we plug away, the next one is greenhousemegastore.com. And we can see that we actually have the demographics. So what I would do is, as I would plug away, find as many sites as I can until I get at least two or three audience demographics of different websites. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to compare to make sure that there is a pattern that exists. So for example, if I see one website that is a lot of female and the other website that's a lot of male, then what I need to do is look at those sites and really dig deep. Because what I'm trying to figure out is, are all the greenhouse kits or greenhouse websites mainly female? If that's the case, it's going to be easier. So as you can see here, the greenhousemegastore.com is mostly female. So I'm going to jot that down. So I'm going to remove these and we're going to say female. And then down here, it looks like the main number is 45 to 54. And then of course, 55 to 64. Next, we have, do they have children? It says no. That means that age group tends to be the kids are out of the house. So that doesn't always mean that they have children or they don't have children. Now, let's see here. Over here we have education. It looks like the majority of them either have no college or some college. So it seems to me like the majority is some college. So I'm going to write that down. And I'm also going to put no college and write the word minor because it's not the majority. And then of course the next thing we have is income. And it looks to me like the majority is this one and this one. But it's leaning more towards the 60K to 100K. And generally speaking, people who buy greenhouse kits most likely have a lot of money. Not all the time, but as you can see, that kind of confirms it. And then of course we have home, browsing location. They're mostly at home. And the fact that there's not as much at work tells me that they might run businesses, or they could be stay-at-home moms or homemakers and so forth. So what I'm trying to do as I do this is I'm trying to figure out exactly what that person looks like. So as we can see, it says majority African American or Caucasian. Looks like majority Caucasian. So as I write this, female, 45 to 64, kids are out of the house, no college or some college, 60 to 100,000 or less, home, and Caucasian. So by doing that, you start to visualize exactly who you're trying to reach out to. Think about somebody that you might know that fits that. Think about what they like, what they don't like, their livelihood, the things that they face in life, and things like that. So it gives you a better view of who you're talking to. So, and that's why I definitely recommend Alexa.com. Even though it's paid, try it out for a month and just do your research, and you can always cancel. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know it was a little long, but this is definitely crucial, and it's going to make your life a lot easier in the long run. So let's move on to the next video.